Business Value Podcast. This podcast is brought to you by Mastery Partners, where our mission is to equip business owners to maximize business value so they can transition their business on their terms. Our mission was born from the lessons we've learned from over 100 business transactions, which fuels our desire to share our experiences and wisdom so you can succeed. Now here's your host, CEO of Mastery Partners, Tom Bronson.
Hi, this is Tom Bronson, and welcome to Maximize Business Value, a podcast for business owners who are passionate about building long-term sustainable value in their businesses. In this episode, since it is being released on July 3rd, 2023, I'm going to continue the tradition of a patriotic salute for Independence Day here in the U.S. 2 years ago, I read the Declaration of Independence, and last year I read the Gettysburg Address. This year, let's switch over to Patrick Henry's famous "Give me liberty or give me death" speech that he delivered to the Virginia House on the eve of the Revolutionary War. It is an inspiring speech and one that most people probably have not read or heard other than those famous lines. Now, as I read through this short speech, it's only about 8 minutes. Listen carefully to the leadership lessons contained herein, and I'll review some of them at the conclusion. Now, although I can't possibly capture the feeling of Henry as he delivered this speech without any notes, I might add, I hope to deliver it to you with the same passion he exhibited at this incredible moment in history. So here we go. St. John's Church, Richmond, Virginia, March 23rd, 1775. Mr. President, no man thinks more highly than I do of the patriotism as well as abilities of the very worthy gentlemen who have just addressed the House. But different men often see the same subject in different lights, and therefore, I hope it will not be thought disrespectful to those gentlemen if, entertaining as I do, opinions of a character very opposite to theirs, I shall speak forth my sentiments freely and without reserve. This is no time for ceremony. The question before the House is one of awful moment of this history of this country. For our own part, I consider it as nothing less than a question of freedom or slavery, and in proportion to the magnitude of the subject ought to be the freedom of the debate. It is only this way that we can hope to arrive at truth and fulfill the great responsibility which we hold to God and our country. Should I keep back my opinions at such time through fear of giving offense, I should consider myself as guilty of treason towards my country and an act of disloyalty toward the majesty of heaven, which I revere above all earthly kings. Mr. President, it is natural to man to indulge in the illusions of hope. We are apt to shut our eyes against a painful truth and listen to the song of that siren until she transforms us into beasts. Is this the part of wise men engaged in a great and arduous struggle for liberty? Are we disposed to be the number of those who, having eyes, see not, and having ears, hear not, the things so nearly concern their temporal salvation? For my part, whatever anguish of spirit it may cost, I am willing to know the whole truth, to know the worst, and to provide for it. I have but one lamp by which my feet are guided, and that is the lamp of experience. I know of no way of judging the future but by the past. And judging by the past, I wish to know what there has been in the conduct of the British ministry for the last 10 years to justify those hopes with which gentlemen have been pleased to solace themselves and this very House. It is that insidious smile with which our petition has been lately received. Trust it not, sir. It will prove to snare your feet. Suffer not yourselves to be betrayed with a kiss. Ask yourselves how this gracious reception of our petition comports with those warlike preparations which cover our waters and darken our land. Our fleets and armies are fleets and armies necessary to a work of love and reconciliation? Have we shown ourselves so unwilling to be reconciled that force must be called in to win back our love? Let us not deceive ourselves, sir. These are the implements of war and subjugation, the last arguments to which kings resort. I ask, gentlemen, sir, what means this martial array if its purpose is not to force us into submission? Can gentlemen assign any other possible motive for it? Has Great Britain any enemy in this quarter of the world to call for all this accumulation of navies and armies? No, sir, she has none. They are meant for us. They can be meant for no other. They are sent over to bind and rivet upon us those chains which the British ministry have so long been forging. And what have we to oppose to them? Shall we try argument? Sir, we have been trying that for the last 10 years. Have we anything new to offer upon the subject? Nothing. We have held the subject up in every light of which it is capable, and it has all been in vain. Shall we resort to entreaty and humble supplication? What terms shall we find which have not already been exhausted? Let us not, I beseech you, sir, deceive ourselves. Sir, we have done everything that could be done to avert the storm which is now coming on. We have petitioned. We have remonstrated. We have supplicated. We have prostrated ourselves before the throne and have implored its interposition to arrest the tyrannical hands of the ministry and parliament. Our petitions have been slighted. Our remonstrances have produced additional violence and insult. Our supplications have been disregarded, and we have been spurned with contempt from the foot of the throne. In vain, after these things, may we indulge the fond hope of peace and reconciliation. There is no longer any room for hope. If we wish to be free, if we mean to preserve inviolate those inestimable privileges for which we have been so long contending, if we mean not basely to abandon the noble struggle in which we have been so long engaged, and which we have pledged ourselves never to abandon until the glorious subject of our contest shall be obtained, we must fight. I repeat it, sir, we must fight. An appeal to arms and to the God of hosts is all that have left us. They tell us, sir, that we are weak, unable to cope with so formidable an adversary. But when shall we be stronger? Will it be in the next week or in the next year? Will it be when we are totally disarmed, and when a British guard shall be stationed in every house? Shall we gather strength by irresolution and inaction? Shall we acquire the means of effectual resistance by lying supinely on our backs and hugging the delusive phantom of hope until our enemies shall have bound us hand and foot? Sir, we are not weak if we make a proper use of those means which the God of nature hath placed in our power. 3 millions of people armed in the holy cause of liberty, and in such a country as that which we possess, are invincible by any force which our enemy can send against us. Besides, sir, we shall not fight our battles alone. There is a just God who presides over the destinies of nations and who will raise up friends to fight our battles for us. The battle, sir, is not to the strong alone. It is to the vigilant, the active, the brave. Besides, sir, we have no election. If we were base enough to desire it, it is now too late to retire from the contest. There is no retreat but in submission and slavery. Our chains have been forged. Their clanking may be heard on the plains of Boston. The war is inevitable, and let it come. I repeat, sir, let it come. It is vain, sir, to extenuate the matter. Gentlemen may cry, peace, peace, but there is no peace. The war is actually begun. The next gale that sweeps from the north will bring our ears the clash of resounding arms. Our brethren are already in the field. Why stand we here idle? Is it that gentlemen wish? What would they have? Is life so dear or peace so sweet as to be purchased at the price of chains and slavery? Forbid it, Almighty God. I know not what course others may take, but as for me, give me liberty or give me death. So there you have it. Patrick Henry's famous "Give me liberty or give me death" speech, delivered in 1775 during the American Revolution. It provides several key leadership lessons that are still relevant today. Here are a few lessons that can still be learned from this incredibly powerful speech. Number one, conviction and courage. Patrick Henry's speech exemplifies the power of conviction and courage in leadership. He passionately expressed his unwavering belief in the importance of liberty and independence, despite the risks that were involved. As a leader, it is essential to have the courage to stand up for your beliefs and inspire others to do the same. Number two, effective communication. Henry's speech showcases the power of effective communication. He used rhetorical devices such as repetition, emotional appeals, and vivid imagery to engage his audience and convey his message persuasively. Leaders should strive to communicate their vision and values clearly and compellingly to inspire and motivate their followers. Learn to be a storyteller. Number three, willingness to challenge the status quo. Henry's speech was a call to action, challenging the status quo and advocating for radical change. It teaches leaders the importance of questioning existing systems, policies, and practices which no longer serve the best interests of their people or the organization. Leaders should not be afraid to take bold, decisive actions to drive positive change in their organization. Number four, inspirational leadership. Henry's speech serves as a prime example of inspirational leadership. He tapped into the emotions of his audience, evoking a sense of patriotism, urgency, and the desire for freedom. Leaders who can connect with their followers on an emotional level and inspire them to strive for a common goal can rally support and achieve remarkable outcomes. I've seen it myself. Number 5, sacrifice and commitment. The phrase, give me liberty or give me death, underscores the importance of sacrifice and commitment. Henry was willing to lay down his life for the cause of liberty, demonstrating the level of dedication required for effective leadership. Now, I'm not suggesting you lay down your life, but leaders should be ready to make personal sacrifices and lead by example, showing unwavering commitment to their vision and values. And finally, boldness and risk-taking. Henry's speech reflects the spirit of boldness and risk-taking in leadership. He advocated for a course of action that carried significant risks, including the possibility of war and, yes, death. Leaders should be willing to take calculated risks and make tough decisions to advance their cause or their organization, even if they face uncertainty and adversity. Incorporating these leadership lessons from Patrick Henry's speech can help leaders inspire, motivate, and guide their teams toward achieving their goals, fostering courage or culture of courage, conviction, and commitment. There you have it. This is the Maximize Business Value podcast, where we give practical advice to business owners on how to build long-term, sustainable value in your business, even if it comes from a speech from 40 some odd years ago. Be sure to tune in each week and subscribe to the channel wherever you found this so you'll never miss an episode. So until next time, I'm Tom Bronson, reminding you to look for leadership lessons from the past while you maximize business value.
Thank you for tuning into the Maximize Business Value podcast with Tom Bronson. This podcast is brought to you by Mastery Partners, where our mission is to equip business owners to maximize business value so they can transition on their terms. Learn more on how to build long-term sustainable business value and get free value-building tools by visiting our website, www.masterypartners.com. That's master with a Y, masterypartners.com. Check it out.
That was perfect. I wouldn't make any changes on that.